Welcome to Chef Alli's Farm Fresh Kitchen. It's time to gather around the table to cook and converse. Right here, we'll come together to learn about Kansas agriculture and the farm families that feed us as we discover new recipes, Kansas products, and farm fresh ingredients.
And we're here with Chef Alli's Farm Fresh Kitchen. I've got to share a little backstory. Chef Alli got here super early this morning, and she put that huge plate of chips in front of us. You can't walk by a huge bowl of chips and not take a couple, Alli. I mean, it was probably up to here when you first came.
It was a test.
Yeah, and we failed miserably. Admittedly so. But anyway, tell us about our guest Steve this morning, Chef Alli.
I want to introduce Steve Backus, who is the president of Kansas Farm Bureau. And Steve is here not only to help us celebrate March as National Agriculture Month, but also to talk about something that's really important to all Kansans, water. So give us the down low on how we're working with Governor Brownback.
You know the old expression that whiskey's for drinking and water's for fighting. And if we don't get this figured out in Kansas, that's where we could very well end up. The governor has a foresight to try to create a vision for Kansas water for the next 50 years. We have declining water levels in the Ogallala Aquifer in western Kansas. We have reservoirs that are filling up with silt in eastern Kansas. Both of those, on both ends of the state, have created a huge economy that is so dependent on those water resources. I mean, the huge cattle feeding industry in western Kansas and the reservoirs feed not only cities and households, but it feeds industry, manufacturing, power plants, all those kind of things, and they're pretty well maxed out. And if we don't do something about it, we're going to have some huge problems with water going forward. So Kansas Farm Bureau has taken up the challenge from Governor Brownback. We're working very hard to help him develop his vision. We're going around the state and meeting with all of our members and everything. That sure is looking good.
I know.
Thank you. Keep talking. Just keep talking.
We're meeting,
I'm working.
with our members to find out their thoughts about all this, and then our board of directors will put together a vision and present it to the governor later on in the month of May.
You know, Steve, we don't think about how important water really is. I mean, of course, it's a little bit more on our mind because of the drought we've recently had. But, you know, when you drive through even western Kansas and you see nothing but agriculture, you see nothing but cow farms, and you see nothing but wheat fields and, everything like that, all that's got to be fed somehow, and that comes with water and irrigation and whatnot. So it's a huge hot topic, especially for, Governor Brownback and all of the people that are in the ag industry.
But it's not just agriculture. I mean, like I said, the reservoirs in the eastern part of the state are feeding industry and our urban cities and all this kind of stuff. So it's a problem for the entire state of Kansas. And Kansas Farm Bureau is involved. Our mission statement says to improve the quality of life in Kansas, and we think that ties into working on the water issue.
And a lot of times, people think that Kansas Farm Bureau only represents farmers and rural people, and that's really not true because we represent people all across the board. So I think that's a point that we always like to mention and let people know that it's not just Kansas Farm Bureau is not just about farmers. It's about Kansans. So,
Steve, you guys need to slip Drew and the weather people a 20 every now and then to see if you can get them to
Some
help
rain.
it rain a little bit.
We do take pride.
Well,
Says they do take pride. She's not
Drew was
above that.
talking about the temperatures, but frankly, I need to see some rain.
Some
I'd
rain.
like to see one of those big old thunderstorms start on one side and just move across the state.
We'll have you escort him out back later on. Okay, Alli, we
Now,
can't ignore this. What?
No,
guacamole.
you cannot. Guacamole in honor of Steve, because he told me this is one of his favorite things. And this is something that's kind of new to me, doing my guacamole in a bag. But it's really neat. I've got all my ingredients in here.
You don't need a fork, huh?
No fork, just a plastic bag. And oxygen is one of the enemies of guacamole because it turns it brown. And also, of course, we know that avocados are a key part of guacamole, have to be soft to the pressure of your thumb. And then for smoke and fire, we've got fire roasted tomatoes and chipotle sauce, which is chipotle is a smoked jalapeno. So that's great. But the secret ingredient in my poolside guacamole is the fresh orange zest. Nice. This gives it a really nice touch. So we've got all our ingredients in here, and we just go crazy smashing all this up. And then what we're going to do is cut the corner off the bag once we have everything combined. And there's our serving bowl. So we would just cut this off once this is combined, and into our bowl
or just
it goes.
squeeze it right into your mouth.
Well, yes,
that's what Sarah
how
Flake does at home, I understand.
Sarah.
Yes. So.
Very good.
And I'm not I probably do too.
And if you go to my Facebook page, you will find this recipe today.
Okay.
But also we want to let people know, if you go and make a comment, and Steve, if you want to hold that up, if you make the comment water, because we want to see if you're listening this morning, on my Facebook page underneath the recipe, you will be entered to win Keep Calm and Farm On t-shirt.
Nobody's awake watching right now. You realize
Yes,
that.
they are.
Well,
But they
Steve,
are.
good suggestion. We like supporting all of our avocado farmers here in the state of Kansas, so we appreciate that. Alli, thank you so much.
You're totally welcome.
Nobody else can have any of this. This is just going to
All
stay
right.
with Steve and I, okay? So
Absolutely.
I might chase you out of here. All right. Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it.
You bet. Thank
All right,
you.
We'll be right back.
Thanks for joining us. Kansas Farm Bureau is proud to support hardworking families across the state, like farmers and ranchers who make it their life commitment to provide food that nourishes all of us. Kansas Farm Bureau, representing grassroots agriculture.